We're
Hello,
live.
and
All right.
welcome to Hold My Beer, the Mad Bomber edition.
So,
And you're not on
I was moving. I just showed up.
camera.
So, I took the day off, and I actually was just texting him last night, talking about this whole new age Unabomber
I
thing.
wouldn't call him anything close to the Unabomber.
Yeah, he was
For
he was
what?
actually a genius.
For one, the guy doesn't use a typewriter. What the hell?
But no, we were talking about it last night, and I'm like, no, it's probably going to be some crazed Trump supporter that drank too much Kool-Aid, the Trump Kool-Aid, and they'll probably find him in a week, and he'll probably have, like, I don't know, naked pictures of children on his wall or something like that. No, he just had naked pictures of Trump. I don't know if that's an actual thing or not,
But he was living in a van down by the river.
No, like I seriously, I was sitting there. I'm like, no, like Fox News and the whole Republican Party is like, oh, it's a false flag. It's
If you haven't seen it yet, you have to look at pictures of this guy's van.
oh, it's insane. It's crazy. So no, last night me and him were texting back and forth, and he was talking about how it's the Republicans, or how who it could possibly be, and how crazy this
or
is.
a crazy Democrat who is trying to like boost morale or get
And
people to the polls.
Well, and I mean, I'm pretty sure that could be clarified as a false flag initiative.
That would be a false flag.
Yeah. So we were talking about that. I'm like, no, it's probably some nut job with a Trump sticker on his car. I was wrong about the car. And they'll probably find him in a week, and he'll admit to everything and whatever. Now, he hasn't admitted to anything yet, but I'm sorry, but anybody that has that many bumper stickers on their vehicle to the point where you can't see out the back window, you need to go see a psychiatrist.
This was the equivalent of free candy written on the side of a van, except it was for like kidnapping Trump supporters.
No, he would actually give candy to the Trump supporters, and he'd abduct the Hillary supporters.
No Hillary supporter would approach a van like that. That's the problem.
No,
You're
no
sane.
sane,
You're trying to attract the people that you want to kidnap.
no
and throw in the
sane,
basement and put the lotion on the skin.
but no sane individual would ever approach that man. Like, period. Like, I'm a Trump supporter. I saw that guy, I would be like, wow, that guy drank the Kool-Aid, like, and then went back for seconds. I mean, oh my God.
Hello, viewer. Yes, we are discussing the capture of the mad Trump bomber.
The alleged suspect. Well, that's what I read. I read that, and I
don't know. They narrowed that down like really quick.
Well, anybody that has that many Trump supporting bumper stickers is obviously on some
So you
sort of
think
watch
they're just
list.
like trying to like point the finger at like the biggest supporter of him that they can find, or?
I honestly, and that's the other thing too, is I don't know how they found him. I read that, I texted you, and I was like, dude, we need to go live with this.
I was watching the live feed before you got here on CBS, I think. They have a live feed on YouTube right now.
I want to see what Fox News's take is going to be on this. Like, he's not a true Trump
the police
supporter.
Clearly planted all those bumper stickers on the van before they got.
Like, and the funny thing too is, like, I'm narking on my own on my own views here. Like, I mean, I am a Trump supporter. I like what he's doing. I vote I vote more Republican than I do Democrat. Yes, but that guy was crazy. That guy was insane, and I can guarantee you that Fox News is going to spin it.
Diagnosed yet.
The guy's crazy. I'll say that. I'll say that on national freaking television. That
he's
guy's
got balls,
nuts.
though. I will say he's got balls. And do you know why I say that? He tried to bomb Robert fucking De Niro. That guy. The guy who's the Godfather. Taxi driver. He tried to bomb Taxi Driver. Like, what the... Okay, like, if you want to mess with somebody who... Okay, he is an actor. but he does crazy really well. He's not somebody that you
Okay,
really want to mess with.
But I will say this though. Out of all of the crazy left-wing propaganda that's out there, and the anti-fascists that are out there that they like to call themselves Antifa. Okay,
I have like zero association or respect
yeah,
for them.
I know you don't.
That's just
But I will say, out of all of those that have actually tried to cause or did cause violence, we have one. You guys have hundreds.
Hundreds. And who's you guys? I'm not even really planning on voting this next go.
Yeah, there's nobody that I really.
I just want to like check the box for legalizing weed and
Mhm.
walk out.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at too. But yeah, I don't know. I saw that and I'm like, oh my god, I have to let you know because I would have expected you to have texted me if you found out first.
I was actually watching. Well, I was doing stuff around the house, but on Netflix, I had on. It was like 9/11, truth, something, and conspiracies. It's like some BBC thing, and I'm like, this sounds interesting.
And I was watching Reign of Fire. It just goes to show you my level of intellect. Well, he's actually watching things that matter. I'm watching dragons burn people alive.
Does it though? It's like almost 20 years later. Like, but I will say, when all of this started, the interesting thing is I had just watched a movie on Netflix called The 22nd of July about Anders Breivik in Norway and shooting all those kids on that island and stuff. And I said to myself, this is going to happen one day here.
That will never happen here. The reason being is because law-abiding citizens own guns.
I
actually just got denied today for trying to buy a gun because apparently my current residence does not match up my residence on my license. So they said no.
That shit.
So there you go. For all of you gun control enthusiasts out there, I was not planning on killing anything aside from squirrels and rabbits with a 22 I plan on buying today for my birthday. And I got denied. There you go.
System works.
System works.
Yeah. But you also didn't lie on the application. That was the loophole right there. You could have just put whatever was on your license. They wouldn't know any different.
But then I'd be breaking the law. And therefore that gun would have been what the hell? Not appropriate. What the hell? Where do I think?
Confiscated.
No, it would have been bought illegally.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, it would have been an illegal gun. Exactly.
All right. So should we get to the main argument that we had yesterday, where I was saying that Trump is not solely responsible, but he's partially responsible for what was happening?
We can get on that, and I honestly, okay, you made some good points. You did. As far as going back to he brought up yesterday, we got in the argument of how Trump was solely responsible, or at least partially responsible in some way, shape, or form to these bombings. Now, I don't think he is. In that, if you're going to follow somebody, religiously, to the point of where, and you brought up Charles Manson and the Kool-Aid guy,
Jones.
Yeah, Jim Jones. Okay, first off, Jim Jones knowingly gave poisoned Kool-Aid to known recipients, 915 people. They knowingly knew that it was poison. They knowingly knew that they were going to die, and they drank it anyway.
Yeah. Text message.
If you're going to do that, then you deserve everything that's coming to you. Sorry. Charles Manson, yeah, he was insane. He was crazy. He's definitely in the right place right? Well,
Yeah,
as of a couple of years ago.
He wasn't even there.
No,
when it happened.
I'm talking when he got arrested.
Mhm.
He went to the right place. He's dead now. So, but he didn't actually kill those people. He didn't actually go and stick a knife into Sarah Tate. Is it Sarah Tate?
Sharon
Tate. He didn't actually go in there. When you and not to mention too is these aren't related in my opinion, because Jim Jones and Charles Manson, for the two examples that we're using, were noted for being religious figures to these people.
But you already stated that people are treating the Republican and Democratic ideals as a religion, and therefore
they are, and that's wrong. We need to stop that right away. And that's where I'm going to come back to my original point.
But
in the first podcast.
Isn't Trump kind of acting like a religious figure when he's having these rallies? Why would you have a rally when
Obama didn't?
No,
Obama had the same rallies.
Obama
talked better than Trump ever has.
Obama wasn't doing rallies. He was going to. What he was doing was supporting Democratic nominees for different positions. It's an election time. Trump isn't running for president. He's currently president. And yet he's holding these rallies where he just meets with his fan base, his followers.
Yeah, but there's an election. He's not on the stake right now, but there is an election in just a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So he's rallying. Yeah,
but he's been doing this ever since he won. The last 2 years, he's been holding rallies at least.
But haven't you ever thought about the fact of like the reason why he's doing these things, and for good or bad or however you think about it, whatever it is, and yes, there are certain things that Trump does I like. There are certain things that Trump does that I hate. There were certain things that Obama did that I liked. There were certain things that Obama did that I hated. So yes, no, I am not a follower, a religious follower of Trump or Obama or Bush. Heaven for fucking big. Bush was a horrible president all around.
I think Zoe's awake. I'm gonna go keep this going.
Yes. No. Do religious followers? I think that Trump is kind of treating this as a religious following? No, I don't. He's in politics. That's what they do. That's what every politician does. Everybody from the upper echelons of the political sphere is crazy. I mean, we can all see that. I mean, look at Hillary, look at Obama, look at Trump. They're all nuts. I mean, need I have examples? I mean, Hillary is a freaking traitor. Trump has been called a fascist on multiple occasions, yet I have yet to see any...
Even by me.
But yet, people still like to call him a fascist, and now that's his tagline. So he's, yeah, sure, I'd run with it too.
He ran with nationalist.
Okay.
Which is...
Anybody that's a constitutionalist is a nationalist. I'm a nationalist.
What version of see, this is what I don't understand, is that...
The Constitution is by far the best written governing document created by man ever.
But it's been amended several times, which it's a living document.
Yeah.
So
I'm talking the current Constitution, the way that it is right now, and not the 10. Jesus Christ, the Bill of Rights, the amendments that we have made. I mean, yes, okay. So if you're going to try to catch me up on the fact that George Washington was a slave owner, yet thought that all free men, or that all men were free.
That didn't include women too.
That didn't. But they also didn't see slaves as men. You have to update that. You have to think of it from them.
Right.
This was 300 years ago.
What I'm getting at is this argument of like the so-called originalists, where they try to say like,
well,
stickiness.
Originalist and nationalist are two different things.
Well, I'm sure they are, but what I'm saying is you have this argument of like, with the original Constitution, man, it's like, you can't go by that because otherwise...
No, I'm saying when I say I'm a nationalist, it means that I hold.
Oh,
the United States.
you're claiming that title too?
What, nationalist?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Why?
Because I believe the United States of America could be the greatest country ever. Why? Because we were at one point, and we can be again. Explain. Like, why is that a bad thing?
Because there's
to believe
this whole
that your
white
country
nationalist thing that's usually associated with
white.
That
No. You added white nationalist to that.
I did, but because you're a white guy and you're pulling that title of nationalist, people are going to associate you with white nationalists.
I don't care what people associate me with. I say I am a nationalist, meaning that every man, every woman, and every child of every race, color, or creed can be free in this country. Period. They're not.
Yeah.
Not right now. But that's because we have taken the Constitution and we've kind of associated the Constitution with the Bible, where we're just like, we like this part, but we're not too keen on this part, so we're gonna throw this part away. And we like this part,
like
so
they're
we're gonna
wiping their ass with the First Amendment.
Pretty much,
yeah.
And that's where I have a problem. But do I feel that like white people are better than blacks? Fuck, no, I don't. And that right there is, I think, the biggest problem. You called Trump a nationalist. I'm a nationalist.
Trump called himself a nationalist.
Well, yeah, okay. All right, fine. Now, if you were to say I'm a white nationalist, fuck, I would have a problem with that. I'd have a huge problem with that.
He did refuse to condone or condemn the white nationalists that were in Charlottesville. And he's
talking about the same white nationalists that had the same right to free speech as you or I, that got ran over by a Chevy Cavalier or a
it was a
Camaro.
It was a white nationalist, white supremacist who ran over counter protesters. So, plus, like a day or two ago, one of the guys who organized that rally just got arrested for inciting a riot.
Okay. What? So where is the limits to free? Where is the limits to free speech?
Well, it's usually associated with violence.
You can't yell fire.
Violence.
You can't yell fire into a crowded theater without there actually being a fire.
For example,
sure.
Like I feel like this in a way is kind of it's a double standard, right? Because when it wasn't Trayvon Martin, it was the other guy in St. Louis, Brown.
Oh yeah.
When the cop was found not guilty, the dad, hearing the verdict, told the crowd, "Burn this motherfucker down." And of course, a riot happened.
That's not free speech.
That's not free speech.
Or that's not. Yeah, that's that.
But then they also refused to arrest them because, well,
it was black.
It was
right?
in the heat of the moment, and he didn't really mean to.
But now put yourself. Now flip it. Now, what if that was a white guy that said that?
Bingo.
So you're saying that black people have more rights to free speech than white people in this country
in that
today?
Instance, they did. Well, have you seen?
But that's what I'm getting at, though. Is like free speech is ugly. It is. I mean, if Nazis wanted to march on to a Black Lives Matter movement, which I don't agree with the Black Lives Matter movement, if they're going to march on it and it's going to be peaceful and they're just saying that whatever, honestly, then that's perfectly okay. That's what free speech is.
I kind of want to hear all the dumb shit they have to say because it's kind of entertaining.
And that's the other thing too, is like when you have a group of the alt-right or the neo-Nazis that stand up and then they start spewing their shit. Like honestly, like black people, Latino people, stop and just step back. Instead of trying to silence them, let them talk. Why? Because they're going to shoot themselves in the foot.
You want to know your enemy as well.
Well, they're not even a freaking enemy anymore. Like, they're dumb. They're dumb, cornbread hicks that are way out in the middle of fucking nowhere that have never met a black person.
I'm offended because I had cornbread this week.
I have cornbread actually sitting at the house right now. And I said corn-fed, which the stew that I made
It's
actually
still
also had corn.
corn.
But what I'm saying is like you have these groups of people that don't like the groups of transgender activists that are marching on Jordan Peterson right now, like, or they did
They were,
in Canada. Listen to him talk. Now, if he has a point, okay, try to counter it. If not, then change your mind.
Well, most of them, turns out, are not transgender. They're just like
Well, there's
picking
70.
up that banner and trying to.
You know, you also you have a very small, very finite group of individuals that want to actually add a P for pedophilia at the end of the LGBTQ XYZ LMNOP freaking label. Like, okay, I'm sorry. I have no problems with gays. I have no problems with lesbians. I have no problems with transgender people. If you're a man and you feel like you're a woman, I'm sorry to say, you're always going to be a man. But if you want to get your dick cut off and turn it into a vagina, by all means, go have fun.
Pretty sure that's
good
not
for
how
it.
it works.
It's not, but I'm just saying they invert it, and it's weird. And I've watched a Discovery Channel documentary on it.
A really
However,
good enlightening book on that subject is Invisible Monsters by Chuck Palahniuk.
Well, he's going to have an invisible monster once he gets it inverted.
Dude, he's not like, he's gay, but he's not transgender.
It was a joke.
All right. Yeah.
But anyways, I'm sorry, but if the few people, and I'm saying this as a very few, probably like a couple hundred in the entire country, probably feel this way. I hope. I swear to God, I hope. But if I ever come across a pedophile that says that it is okay to sleep with underage children when you're in your 40s, I might kill him myself.
Well, we had one that was running. Was that South Carolina?
That doesn't
Who was that guy? He's the one that rode in on a horse, and he got kicked out of that mall for trying to pick up like 13-year-old girls while he was in his 30s.
That's wrong. Like, that's horrible.
Yeah, but he was. Trump was supporting the guy. It was.
Was he really?
Yes. He said.
Because I don't even know the guy you're talking about.
Oh, God damn it. Well, if we weren't using my phone, I'd Google it. Right now. Jamie, can you look up who the pedophile senator, congressman was? But,
I mean, I'm not saying, by any means, I'm not sitting here, like, I'll go on national television, national YouTube world right now, and I will say that Trump is a dick. Trump is an asshole. He is. And I think that
he's your asshole.
He married a beautiful woman and then decided to sleep with a freaking porn star for $130K that looked like freaking Igor, and
oh my God,
that just had big tits. All right, he's a dick. He's a fucking asshole. I'll be the first one to admit that. You know what? I don't care.
I will say the Playmate was hot, though.
I only know Stormy Daniels.
It was the same time period, and she got a payout of like, I think it was also 120-ish thousand.
That's probably why she's like, she doesn't. I mean, she's probably still young. She's probably still hot. I mean, Stormy Daniels, come on. Any guy out there wouldn't pay $30 for that chick, let alone $130,000.
But she's a pro, dude. She can do things that I don't know, like what her specialties are, but
I don't know. I've looked her up a couple of times. She's not. She's just. There's nothing
like
there.
Her biggest credit was being.
I will say. If I looked like Trump, I'm not by any means saying that I'm a catch by any means. But if I looked like Trump, I'd pay $130,000 for Stormy too, because she'd probably be like a 10. I mean, there are different levels. If I looked like George Clooney, I wouldn't pay $10 for Stormy Daniels. But if I looked like Trump, I'd pay $130,000 for Stormy Daniels.
Wow, I feel like we're really.
We just went way off the deep end on that one.
That was like really shallow though. Stormy Daniels is a person. Come on.
Yeah. Okay. And then turned around, accepted $130,000 for consensual sex with the current president of the United States, and then turned around and tried to milk him for more. Exactly.
Yeah.
Then when he actually got elected, she was like, you know what? I have a huge news story. I'm going to say that.
Well, they threatened her kid, too. That was the shitty part. That was where, because she said that she was approached in a parking lot, and they were like, you need to think about your kid or some shit like that. That's where I'd be pissed, too.
Well,
It's like, don't threaten my freaking kid.
Yeah, I'm not sitting there and saying that she doesn't have a point. I'm sitting here and saying she was the one that brought the threat to her children in the first place.
But it has
If she were to have taken, okay, ladies, I will say this: if any man comes up to you and offers you $130,000 for sex, you either take the $130,000 and you walk away and you never see him again. Whatever, that's your business. But if you take the $130,000 and you walk away, then you realize 5 years, 6 years, 10 years later that very guy is now running for president of the United States, and you try to milk him for more money, expect some really weird people to come knocking on your door really late at night and threaten you and your children. Don't do that.
Okay, going back to the whole bomber thing.
Yes.
That's like saying that was okay.
How?
I don't know. So for some reason, this guy felt justified in like going after.
If he raped you, that's a whole other story. But if you had consensual
Who
sex,
mentioned rape? Whoa! Like you just like totally went off the deep end on that.
I did.
I'm talking about the bomber feeling like he's justified in trying to kill Robert De Niro, Obama, Joe Biden, like all these people, and you just like throw rape out there, like.
Well, I was talking about Stormy Daniels.
You're backing up.
Yeah, I was talking about Stormy Daniels. Because no, it's not right if she actually did get, if the president of the United States actually raped you, then no, freaking stand up and say something, and you'll have the country backing you. But Stormy Daniels never once claimed rape.
No,
as far as I know,
it was all consensual.
It was all consensual.
Yeah.
So he paid. Okay, so he's a dick because he cheated on his wife and slept with a porn star. But if you were single and you had the money, you'd sleep with a porn star too.
We already know that's been his MO forever. Like he cheated on his first wife with his second wife.
Uh-huh.
He cheated on his second wife with Melania.
Well, and you also have the huge problem.
And he cheated on Melania with Ivanka.
Mm-hmm. Well, not yet, anyway.
That we know of. You've seen that photo of her giving him a lap dance.
Which is awkward as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sitting here. I'm not saying that he has the highest morals on the planet. He doesn't. But like we were talking about in our previous podcast, where he is like the ultimate. I mean, we had Obama. He was politically correct. He was nice. He was proper. He was, he talked with
knew the
intelligence.
English language. He was a pussy.
But he was a pussy. He was, and I don't mean that freaking offensively for all of you people. He was a pussy.
Do you even say sissy anymore? Is that?
I don't know. I'm going right out. He was a fucking. He was a sissy ass pussy. There, I just said it both.
I can't keep up with all these words.
But yeah, I can't either. The whole politically correct thing. So we went to the next extreme. We went, instead of having somebody with just a little bit of balls that, kind of stood there and held his ground a little bit, instead of riding his freaking little pedally bike, with a helmet on, and he looked like he liked it up the ass.
What?
It was a joke. It was a joke. Anyways, he was a sissy. And now we went to Trump, which is the next extreme.
I feel like he's a sissy, too. He talks big, he tweets loud, but then when he's like face to face with somebody,
that is kind of true.
Yeah,
and that I will totally admit is kind of true, because when you're in a meeting and Feinstein likes what you say, you need to reevaluate your situation. You need to reevaluate where you've been in life, because that woman is crazy.
Okay, here's the reason why I think Trump is somewhat responsible for this whole bombing thing. So, he seems to think, now he's the one that, he says himself that, like, basically he dictates policy through his tweets. he will say things that are the complete opposite of what his administration is saying. He will attack the media. He attacks his political opponents. If somebody says something bad about him, he goes off the deep end back at him, right?
Okay.
The thing is, he's not...
Not everybody. Eminem is still waiting on his response.
I don't think Eminem is even on his radar. I don't think Trump knows what rap music is. He knows what the WWF is, but I don't even think he understands, like, what that is. I think he's still, like, stuck in the 70s when it comes to music, honestly. He's probably like Studio 54.
After
great
the
place.
70s, there hasn't really been a whole lot of good music, so...
Oh, okay.
Anyways.
But the thing is, as president, his policy, his actions, his attitude towards different people, that is a basis for what other people have to go by as to what is acceptable in our society, especially for his followers. If Trump is attacking the media, well, guess what? Sending a pipe bomb to CNN, probably going to seem okay. Whereas it wouldn't have been if Obama was president. Like, there's no cause or reason for that. But then Trump is like, CNN are horrible, communist news network, blah, blah, blah. We need to get rid of them.
Yeah, but okay. Now I'm going to play the flip side to you. I'm going to play the devil's advocate. The amount of times that he has attacked Hillary, Bernie, and the Democratic Party.
Lock her up.
She needs to be locked up. She's a legit traitor. She sold weapons-grade uranium to freaking Russia, as did Bush, as did Obama, as did every other freaking president.
What's the point of even bringing that up, then?
Because they all need to be locked up. I mean, look at how much money Bush made off of the freaking oil crisis after the 9/11 attacks. Anyways, that's a conspiracy theory. So I'm going to play the flip side of that. So if Trump was, as far as I know, he has never had an assassination attempt on him. Now, if I was a die-hard Hillary supporter, and the amount of times that he has attacked Hillary and the Democratic Party, wouldn't somebody on the Democratic side try to kill him anyway? If your logic holds true for the Republicans, because as far as I know, there's only ever been one Republican president in the United States history that's ever been assassinated. Reagan was shot, but he was
what was
or no, I'm sorry. One Democratic. No, I am saying that right. No, one Republican president that has lived during an assassination. That's what I'm trying to say. All the rest of them were Democratic presidents.
Are you sure? Because Reagan was shot and Lincoln was shot. I'm not sure what McKinley was, but that's when Roosevelt...
I looked this up a while ago. So I'm not 100% certain, but I think
it was a Democrat
there was only
who shot
one
up the baseball field.
There was only one Republican president that was shot and killed, and I think it was Lincoln. Was the only Republican president that was shot and killed.
And the party was different back then too.
Oh, it was way different.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm just saying, like, he ran. I think that was the last president, the last Republican president that was shot and killed. Now, there's a lot of arguments between, like, JFK. I mean, I'm a Republican, and JFK was kind of badass. Not gonna lie, he ran as a Democrat. He was more Republican than what I think a lot of people like to realize. In the fact that he had a lot of Republican ideas. He was probably the first actual libertarian.
Clinton did too. You look at Clinton's second term, and he approved NAFTA. He did all these things. Like, he was promoting more. We need to expand the death sentence. God, there was a ton of stuff that he was like pro-Republican, especially during his second term.
But the shit that mattered. I mean, JFK actually started to notice things that were changing in this country, and by the time Clinton came around, it was already long gone.
The thing with JFK, and
like, I like JFK, like, his standings on a lot of things were very sound.
Well, I look at it this way. So I got into this debate as to whether or not Romeo and Juliet, and I will tie this in somehow. Romeo and Juliet was more a romance story than a tragedy, and this girl was trying to argue that Romeo and Juliet was more of a comedy than anything else. And she's like, "How can you say it was romantic? They both died in it." And I said, "Yes, because the potential is there for how great their romance could have been." And I feel like with JFK, we had this romantic idea of this president who was only in office for 2 years before he was shot.
Yeah, something like that. He didn't have a chance to even make any decisions yet.
He really, I mean, he did a few things. He created the Green Berets and the Peace Corps, but he also got us into Vietnam. There was the Bay of Pigs. There was the Cuban Missile Crisis. But overall, he did not get the chance to fuck up like any president who has an 8-year term. Once you're in your second term, the ratings drop. Everybody thinks that you're just screwing things
Well, I mean,
up.
and think about it. I mean, we impeached Clinton because he got a blowjob from his secretary. Now imagine if JFK if it was actually put out that he was actually sleeping with Marilyn Monroe back in
Well,
the day.
even the Republicans, when they were trying to impeach Clinton for that, all of them were sitting there like, this is retarded. But then because of party lines, they went along with it, even though they knew in their heart it was going to go nowhere.
Look, and I think that's where the biggest problem comes in, is because they try to tie in the leader of the free world, their president, with their personal views. Look, Clinton, Bill Clinton, not Hillary Clinton.
I like donuts.
Bill Clinton. From what I've read, I mean, I was a young boy at the time. I don't really remember his presidency. Yes, I was young.
I still have the Ken Starr comic book that was made.
But from what I've read, what I've seen, what I've witnessed, all that kind of stuff, it doesn't seem like he ran that bad of a presidency. It doesn't seem like he was that bad of a president. He had a pretty decent economy going at the time. Foreign affairs were good. I mean, things were on the up and up with him. So okay, so he slept with his secretary. Okay.
Define slept.
Okay, so he had a blowjob in the Oval Office. Whatever. He cheated on Hillary, which Hillary looks like a fucking troll, so I don't really blame him for that.
Oh my God.
But I mean, either way, you're married, so that's wrong. But people have gotten to the point where they judge a president on his personal life, not on the professional decisions that he has made on his presidency. And that's crap. In my opinion, I think that's crap. Don't judge somebody. If they're going to lead you, or if they're going to lead your country, or if they're going to make decisions that are going to directly affect your life, negatively or positively, it doesn't matter. Look at the decisions they're making for you, for your life. Like, Trump has lowered my taxes. He is making it easier for me to buy a home. He is making it easier for me to start a business if I so choose.
Market.
But that's not his fault. He's trying to fix it.
It's his policies that inflated the market because he undid everything Obama did to correct that.
Obama was the one that was going to inflate the market.
The housing market.
Okay, so in 2 years, Trump has inflated or not inflated.
She is sleeping, and the monitor is right here.
But Trump has managed to up GDP by over 1% in his time in office. Why did it take Obama 8 years to recover from the recession in 2008?
Did you see that it's harder to get out of that than it is to?
But Obama had the longest recovery rate in American history after recession.
Right.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
I mean, why? What did he do?
Well, you had the QE. I mean, do you want the whole long list? Because you had the recovery package, which, if you like Bell's beer, you should thank him for that because he's the one that got them national distribution. That was part of the recovery package.
Okay, so there's one example.
You have the QE.
He
which
came
the
out with a
Federal
stimulus
Reserve
package.
did.
He gave everybody $600.
No,
Woo!
that was Bush. That was Bush that was handing out those checks.
Yeah, you're right. That was at the end.
Yeah. So you had Bush that was handing back money, which
And I'm not.
wasn't. Here's the thing, it was a forward on your future tax return. Which, when you did your taxes the next year, they would say, "Did you get a check?" You mark yes. Boom. That money is taken off of your current tax return,
Mm-hmm.
which meant people got less money.
Mm-hmm.
Which was
You ended
really
up
odd.
You ended up with exactly the same amount of money at the end of the year. And I'm not. Again, there's another example of why Bush was a horrible president. But I mean, no, I'm not saying that the housing market crash in 2008 was Obama's fault, because it wasn't. That actually started back in the early 80s.
You have good time on that.
Yeah.
I mean, she usually comes early, but
2:55.
okay.
Um,
How about 10 minutes?
Okay.
10 minutes? 10.
10. No, and I'm not blaming Obama for that, because I mean that wasn't even Carter's fault.
But
That
Obama
started in Reagan's
But
era.
Obama put into place laws that tried to make sure that the housing market crisis never happened again. If one of the first things Trump did was, I'm going to get rid of these laws. Boom. What happens? Kalamazoo's housing market, all of a sudden, within a year, is back to where it was pre-2008, which we all know now that those prices were ridiculous. There's no reason why there's no reason why the house that you currently live in should have cost $65,000. It's
No.
clearly probably a $30,000 house if the market is where it should be.
If the market is where it should be, or if the inflation of housing in general is where it
It
should
was
be.
artificial
You can't-
inflation
Well,
done by
yeah,
the
but-
banks because they weren't regulated.
So is that Trump's fault, or is that the banker's fault?
It's currently Trump's fault because he got rid of those laws that were put into place.
I'm still not. I'm not gathering how you can blame the housing for 350 million people in this country on one person. I blame the banks. I blame.
He's the one that signed the laws in place.
But there's always a loophole.
No,
So, if you're telling me that because Trump got rid of the laws, which, and I'm not saying that I agree with, but what I'm saying is, because I don't know enough about them, so I'm going to stay neutral on that. But what I'm trying to say is if one man is responsible for the homes of 350 million people, then we live in a monarch, and we need to reduce the power of the presidency.
I wouldn't say it's a monarchy. I would say it's a constitutional oligarchy. And the last election proved that to me. Because you had two people who felt like they were entitled to a position of power. They were the only two options that were given to the American people.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore,
And that's where I will say that I have a problem with the current electoral college. I was actually thinking about that earlier today, where the electoral college, like, we need something of that type in the electoral college, or in this country, because if we didn't, then California and New York would decide our president
actually,
every
no.
year.
No,
Or every 4 years.
that's a lie too.
Bullshit. How?
California and Texas would decide.
No.
It has a higher population than the state of New York. New York is number 3. And actually, in reality,
But they have
the
more counties.
populations.
No. They have more.
populations of California and New York are actually going down, and they have for the last 10 years because nobody can afford to live there. And Texas population has gone up. So you have a totally Republican state.
So you're saying, so in that statement, because nobody can afford to live in California because I'm assuming of taxes and cost of living,
Cost of living is too high.
which taxes are included in that, and New York, which are both Democratic states, are all moving to Texas, which the only city
They're
that they
not
have is a Democratic Dallas. Otherwise, that state is 100% Republican. almost
I don't
100%.
think Dallas is Democrat. I think
They
really
voted. I think in 2016 they voted predominantly Democrat.
that and Austin. Austin is very, very liberal, but the majority of the state, again, the flyover region that is Trump's base, the majority.
Well, and that's
is
where
Republican.
I have a problem with. Well, I mean, because if you look at the actual landmass, Northern California is predominantly Republican, but it's Southern California where the vast majority of people are, basically dictate what state that or what way that state's going to lean, which is where I have the problem with the Electoral College. Does something of the Electoral College need to exist? Absolutely.
Well, you do have states, and I do agree with this, where the Electoral College is because you do have the majority of states saying if a candidate gets a certain percentage of that state, all those votes go towards that candidate. But then you have other states that say
no, because according to the Electoral College of whatever particular state, you could have the county, the city, or the state vote Democrat, but their representative still has the choice to choose which way he wants to lean, and that's where
it's
the electoral
dictated
votes
by
are
the state.
No, it's not.
Yes,
no,
it
it's
is.
not.
Because you have other states that say, depending on how your district voted, that is how that electoral vote will go. So you have states that do divide the votes.
Yes, you have states that will choose.
It's dictated by the state as to how those votes
go.
go.
The representative of each state still has the ultimate decision in which way he wants to lean. Yes, he does.
End.
Yes,
Not in the end.
Yes. Well, okay. So at the beginning, either way, if Michigan, because Michigan is a Democratic state, predominantly since 2016. Okay, so 2016 they voted red, but every other time they voted blue.
How long have we had a Republican governor? And in reality, and the only two spots that voted for Clinton was Detroit and Kalamazoo. The rest of the state was red.
Well, yeah, because Clinton was a horrible fucking person.
Well, she never fucking visited Michigan, so
dumbass. No, the last thing that I read, now this was a couple of years ago, unless they changed shit, the last thing that I read is that each state's representatives in the House of Representatives and in the Senate, anyone that has Electoral College votes,
those people don't do the Electoral College. It's a totally separate
can
entity.
Choose what way to swing themselves. So if I'm a Republican and my state decides to vote Democrat, I can still choose the Republican candidate, which is bullshit. Is total bullshit. And because if you're ever in the House of Public Service, any capacity whatsoever, if you are the voice of 2 people or 5 people or 100 people or 100,000 people, you are responsible for voting their way. You have to vote whatever way that you don't have a vote essentially at that point if you get into public office. Yeah, sure, you can go to the polls and you can vote that way, just like you or me. But exactly. Hence why I've never voted. Turning 29 tomorrow and I've never voted.
You didn't even vote for Trump? He's just your guy? So
I didn't like Trump.
So wait a minute.
I didn't like Trump at the beginning. I liked Paul Ryan.
So what you're saying is you are the not Puff Daddy, who's the you're the Kanye of Hold My Beer. If I did vote, I would have voted for Trump.
No.
No.
Even if I did vote, I still wouldn't have voted for Trump. I wouldn't have voted in the last election because I didn't like either one of them.
Yeah.
You know, I'm forced to like Trump in a sense where, like, okay, so there are certain things that Trump has done that I like. The more that I keep reading and the more that I keep finding out are the more things that I don't really like about Trump, but he would have certainly not been my first choice. And this is a direct quote. If you ask my parents, anybody that hosts WWE should not be our next president.
He didn't host it. He wrestled in it.
Oh, okay, if your face
He
is
is-
associated with WWE in any way, shape, he's a reality fucking TV star.
He actually has.
I
he's
like-
an honorary member of.
I like Trump.
Or he's in the Hall of Fame. He's in the Hall of Fame for that.
I like Trump. I do, and I will say that all the way up until something fucking just insane happens. But the more shit, I hated his omnibus bill package because he gave everything to the Democrats. He gave freaking Planned Parenthood everything that they were asking for. He gave just everything that he said that he was against. The omnibus bill came out and it was like, oh, so that's where I said, I totally agree with you in the fact, he talks big, but when he actually gets in the meeting to make the decision, yeah, he's a puss.
Tiny hands. Tiny hands.
Yeah. So I like what Trump is doing because he's rallying the country, not in the best way, but he's fine. I mean, hell, you know what? If he can rally the entire country behind hating him, then he's succeeded. And so far, he's doing a pretty goddamn good job.
Except for that 30% that supports him no matter what, which I would argue is that Republican religious.
And that's where the religion comes in that we need to talk about more on Sunday.
I
But
probably gotta go.
yeah, they probably do, don't you?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Fucking work. Just call in. Call it a day. Let's go to the store and buy some more
Nah.
beer.
No,
All right.
unfortunately.
Well, we shall continue this
On Hold My Beer.
on Hold My Beer. I'm already a little drunk, if you couldn't tell. So I will, Sunday?
Sunday.
I should be in town.
Yeah.
I have freaking birthday shit that I gotta do tomorrow. with
Yeah,
me and
we're.
the fiance,
I
so-
have a feeling we're going out of town to finish up working on our dad's house and.
Okay. Well, Sunday.
Also, have if you're gonna go to Tibbs afterwards. with,
I'm super
Steve and
nervous
I,
about that. You know that, right? I'm scared.
Just print out the first 10 pages. Bring 2 copies.
Terrified.
Okay.
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 I'll do my best. Ah, shit. I should have printed those out at work.
That's what I did.
Damn it. You have a printer here?
No, I did photocopies because everything's
Okay.
typed up on a typewriter, like the Unabomber.
And we shall end on that.
Later.
Bye.